Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about the amazing, oh my gosh, we're going to talk about Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and we're going to talk about Day 1 Errata and the ramifications of Day 1 Errata, and we're going to talk, and I'm going to answer Nerd Immersion's question, okay? So Nerd Immersion, he does amazing content. He's one of the best in the game. He's right now struggling to cross over 100,000 subs, which is brutal, right? Like, getting subs on YouTube is brutal. It's very difficult. It's heartbreaking because, like, you work really hard and then you like make progress, and then the progress can disappear as people unsubscribe, right? Like, so he's really trying hard, and one of my favorite content creators, Grace Randall's been on YouTube for probably a decade, and has had 950,000 subs for, I'm not kidding, like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, and just cannot break a million. It's heartbreaking to watch, right? And I know Nerdmerge has been struggling for a long time. He wants that that play button, and he deserves it, right? So I'm rooting for him. But okay, let's keep going here. So he brought out this amazing situation, and he explained that we already know there's going to be 3 versions of Dragons of... There's going to be 3 versions. There's already 2 versions. But there are going to be 3 versions of... Almost certainly, about 99% chance of this, 3 versions of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. So 2 versions exist today. The print copy, okay? And then the D&D Beyond copy. And he showed, right? So Nerd Immersion showed with New Moon, Lunar Boon, okay? The Lunar Boon for New Moon for sorcerers. In the book, it says, hey, New Moon, Lunar Boon, you can quicken a spell for Evocation, which means you can use it for Fireball, okay? But it's been corrected, air quotes, I don't know if that word is correct, but we're going to use Nerd Immersion's word. I don't know if that word's right. It's been changed, let's say it that way. It's been changed, right, on D&D Beyond, right? And there it says Enchantment. Now, which one is right? Good question. Let's get all the way there, okay? There's going to be a 3rd version. I agree. Nerd Immersion said this, and I agree with him. About 3 months from now, when they reprint Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, which there's no guarantee of that. There may only be two, but most likely there'll be a preprint, okay? And this is all, I think this is, I don't know if this has happened. Have we seen the new corrected versions of Spelljammer yet? I don't know. That's a good question, right? So there's a good chance there's going to be a corrected print version, right? So you have the original print with Evocation for your Lunar Boon, for your New Moon Lunar Boon. Sorry for the rhyme there. It just naturally rhymes. And then there's the lame. Who cares if Enchantment has this stupid, like, who cares? Like, Enchantment, it doesn't matter, right? But if it's Evocation, you can use this for Fireball, which is used by every wizard under the sun, right? Like, so do you have the cool version, which is the original, I would say, correct version, right? in the hardback? I'm going to have that because I pre-ordered it, right? I can tell you that right now, right? And so basically, yeah, it's really fascinating. This is really fascinating. So basically, and actually, Nerd Immersion has already shown. He's shown it exists, the Evocation version, right? So that's highly valuable to people, right? Now Wizards of the Coast already changed it on D&D Beyond, okay, making it much worse, much lamer, right? And then we're gonna get this corrected print version. So Nerd Immersion said, what do we do? He said, what do you do with this? And I'll tell you what I do with this right now, right? Which is the correct path to manage this, right? So, one, you're at your table, right? And you want to be polite to each of your players, right? And so you're just going to say this in your heart and in your mind. You're not going to say it to the player, right? You'll be like, oh, thanks, Sally, for being here. And she's going to be like, hey, I'm going to use the New Moon Lunar Boon to make my enchantment spell a little bit better, which nobody's excited about, and it sucks, right? And you're like, thanks, Sally, you're an attending player. Thanks. You cast your spell, right? Like, then, Sarah is going to come, and she's going to be like, hey, check it out. I'm going to use New Moon Lunar Boon to cast Evocation, and I'm going to quicken this Fireball spell. And Sally's going to go, wait, what? Why can't I use it to quicken my Fireball spell? And you're going to say, that's right, Sarah, you are going to use that because it's right there in the book that you just showed me, right? And the point you're saying, good spell use there, Sarah. Your Fireball is cast with 0 sorcerer points, right? And Sally's going to be like, wait, what? And you're like, well, each of you are using, the rules that you've presented to me. And the part you don't say, but you say it in your heart and you say it in your mind is, Sally, you are an attending player. You suck, right? Oh, and Sarah, you are an engaged anchor player. You know that day one hardback rules. And you are engaged and you care about Dungeons & Dragons. You're not just showing up. You're an anchor player. You're what games are built on. You're what D&D campaigns are built on. And you will be the next Dungeon Master. And Sally, you may not have your seat 6 months from now. If I get better players coming, we'll definitely relegate you. And so and then later, Samantha's going to show up and she's like, "Hey, I got the corrected book. What happens to me?" Well, you can use it for your enchantment the way it's been corrected, but when you do your enchantment, you get a plus D6 on whatever the effect is, right? It'll last 6 hours longer, or if it's a light spell, it'll go out 10 more feet. Why don't I get Evocation? Because you weren't cool enough to get the day one hardback, right? But you were cooler than Sad Sack Sally over there using D&D Beyond, taking whatever pablum WotC serves her, rather than knowing the true history, right? And so you're polite and you're thankful to everybody, every player who's there, but you judge them in your heart and you judge them in your mind, right? And you know that Sarah is the anchor player. Sarah, day one hardback, is the anchor player, right? And Sally is your attending player, and you will replace Sally if you can. And Samantha is a little in between, and she's going and she is hovering between anchor player and sad sack attender, right? And that's the reality, and that's the amazing thing about, and that's why we love Dungeons & Dragons and we never play OSR, because on Dungeons & Dragons, the errata creates hierarchies among players, and the errata creates excitement, and the errata creates options. 3 ways to play. Even Dungeons & Dragons mistakes are more valuable than the things that OSR people do on purpose in their sad sack books. It's incredible. All that is my humble opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.